That looks good. Don't it? Welcome back to the channel, ladies and gentlemen. Let me tell you what I got planned and in store for y'all for this week. Man, I'm excited. Alright folks, as you can clearly see, the tank has arrived, which is cool. I'm not going to keep this color, but I like the pattern. I really like it. I dig it. American flag, check that out. I didn't know they did those. But it's like somebody put a sticker on there and then they put clear coat and sprayed that over it. The lock on this was stuck. They didn't have a key for it. So I bought, where did it go? What did I do with it? Where did you go? Oh, here it is. This is a lock picking kit. Hang on. I'm over righty. Okay, a lock picking kit. Yeah, see, I've already used this and I got that open. So I've actually put that on there and unlocked it like 6 times just to kind of practice it. So it is now off. And on the inside, I don't know if you guys can see, it's got shiny down in there. There is no rust, not a speck of rust. I'm really digging that. Check that out. There's no rust on this whatsoever. So that tells me the integrity of the tank, the inside is clean and it's safe. So if all I gotta do is get the fuel shutoff valve off of that old tank, clean it, put it on here, hook up the fuel, and then I'll have the fuel source for the engine. Next is the radiator. This thing right here. It's basically ready to go. I had to go to Partzilla and I got to buy these. The bolts and I can't remember what they're called, crowns. I can't remember what they are, but anyway, I had to get some of this hardware because when I bought the bike, it didn't have the bolts for this, so I had to buy them. It's not on there tight right now. I just kind of like put it on there so I can see if these tabs are bent, and I was right, they are bent, mainly because this bike was dropped on its side. As you can see here, see the brake pedal? See how this right here is bent upward? Yeah, it's not supposed to be like that. I will have to correct that before I put this thing on the road. But knowing that this was dropped on this side, I knew this was going to be bent. So I'll have to bend these tabs and get this thing, fitted so it's nice and comfortable. Let's go up here to the throttle. I will need to get this done, but before I do that, I got to put the seat on so I can fix the ride height. And I haven't messed with these handlebars ever since Ashley installed them, so they're actually still the same from when she put them on. But I will need to loosen these here so I can roll the handlebars up to fix the ride height, and then I'll mount this right where it needs to be so that I can connect the throttle in here, hook up the cable, and then run that off to the side of the bike so I can work with the throttle once I finally start it. So also in the last video that you guys saw, when I was putting on the clutch cable, I ran into a small situation, and it appears as though the clutch lever doesn't fully move like it's supposed to. Because look, this right here, this is your clutch. If I pull this in and I let it go, it's supposed to go back out here where it came from, but it's not. I can do this and let it go and it stays there. Not cool. So what I'm thinking is inside here, this is where your clutch plates are located. I'm thinking that the clutch plates are stuck together, which is not providing tension on that cable, which will allow it to pull back out. So my objective, like I said, this week is to get the bike running. That's why I've been looking to get the tank. I need to get the radiator set up. I gotta get the bolts and the hardware for it. I had to get filters for the fuel line, a pick to open up the tank. I mean, I've been busy, y'all. But my objective is I want to run this engine, get it up to temp, and run it on a heat cycle. And then when I can, you know, blip the throttle a few times, try to, you know, rev it a little bit and see if it's possible that it'll break these plates loose, or it'll break them apart. Because I think right now they're just stuck together and they're not going anywhere. So that's my objectives. You guys are aware of it. I can probably show you guys how I worked with this and picked the lock. It's actually kind of cool. You know what? I'll just show you that, and you probably do a little time lapse of this. I don't know. You know what? I'm not even going to bother showing the radiator. Just know that the tabs need to be lined up. I'm going to hook up all this hardware, the radiator fan, the temp sensor. It's in there too. The overflow. I got to hook that up. Where'd it go? Right there. I got to hook that up. But all this just to get the engine operational and functional, so it'll run, get up to temp, and hopefully break those free. My objectives for this week. But yeah, that's pretty much going to be it for today's video. I'm really not going to cover much more, except for you know, the actual lock picking. So I'll probably put you guys. Where's my GoPro? I'll put you guys on my GoPro on my head. That way you guys can see what I see when I was picking the lock. So let me get to that and I'll show you what I did. Alright, so I got you guys up here recording from this view. And then I got you guys up here. So we're gonna take a little seat here. Alright, nice and comfy. Alright, I want to tell you guys that I have never worked with these before. I mean, well, prior to this video, but like in my life, I've never messed with them before. I don't know what most of these are even called. I have watched some YouTube videos. They explain the names of them. So I am by far not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. Just throwing that out there. If I can just find the other one that I used as I spill them all over the bike. That's great. That's fantastic. Save that one. Okay, I need, not this one. I need this one here. This one I know they're called is a double butterfly. I don't know if you can probably see it from that camera. But yeah, double butterfly. It looks like a snowman on the tip. There you go. So, but the other one I'm looking for, I have no idea what it's called, but it was effective. Oh my god, where are you? There it is. This one right here. I don't know if you guys can see. Alright. I don't need the rest of them. I was actually using all three of these at one point, trying to learn how this thing works. So let's try to... This tool here applies pressure to the tumbler or the cylinder. Okay, I'm just lining it back up, push it down, and when you do, this locks back in place, and then your tank's locked. You can't get to it. Now I'm telling you guys right now that these locks, they're easily pickable. You can access these, the ones in your tank bag, not tank bag, but the saddle bags. If it's got a lock, it's not hard to get into it if you know what you're looking for. All right, so let's try this one here. What I was told, what I learned was take this and slide it down in there, like so. And on this, there's pins on this tumbler. See, some keys, they have teeth on both sides, while others have teeth just on one side. Well, if you have teeth on one side, which is a good thing, like this one, all the pins are going to be on one side, so it's easy to feel for them. You know, so you'd stick this down in here, and what you're doing is, as you go, you drag it upward, like you're prospecting, you're digging in it, and you're feeling for those pins. You grab this side, you turn, and if you feel the pins are, you know, little notches as it goes up, that's the side that those pins are on. In this case, the pins are on this side. They're not over here, which is good. How to use this tool. They say you slide it in here in the keyhole, like so. All right, and then you apply some pressure. Don't try to like turn it and break it off, because it's the last thing you want to do is break that off in there. So you apply some pressure. That's all I'm doing, is just a little bit of pressure. And I slide this down in here. And what I'm doing is I go down and I'm working my way up. I work in a circular motion, kind of like digging it out. But what you're doing is you're actually pushing all those pins in there. I don't know if you guys can see that first pin right there. It's possible because the way the light in this room is working. See, that's one pin right there. That's the first pin. But I don't need that. While you're doing this, you want to have a steady pressure. Don't try to turn it, just a steady pressure so you can set those pins. So go all the way to the bottom, apply some pressure on the tumbler, and then just I'm working my way up and down to move those pins back in place. There it is. Oh my God, like 10 minutes later. Yeah, that'll be the last time I do it. So, but I got it. This one's trash now. I don't want it. But yeah, I mean, guys, it works. Like I said, I'm not a professional by any means. But if I keep tinkering with it, I'm pretty sure I'll get good at it. But that's that. Alright folks, well that's going to be a wrap for today's video. Unfortunately, I didn't get it much further. I do have a lot left to do to the bike, but I wanted to show you guys, like, it's easy to, you know, get into a locked gas cap just by learning how to pick the lock. I've never picked a lock in my life. Mission accomplished. I figured that out. It took me, what, 15-20 minutes? But I got a lot more left to do to the bike. Hopefully in the next video, when that comes out, I will actually have this bike capable of starting up for the first time in 8 years. And like starting up and staying running on its own, under its own power, for 8 years. It's quite some time to be waiting. So yeah, hopefully you guys stick around for the next video. And hopefully somewhere along the lines I can find my YouTube mechanic shirt that was made for me. For some reason I can't find it. I don't know where it is. So if it was left in one of the two places, one of them not being here, if it's left elsewhere, just know I didn't mean to do that. I love that shirt. So if you have it, send it back. I could use it. If not, hold on to it and I'll come back and get it at another time. But I know I've been searching everywhere. I'm wearing my jumpsuit and one of my other stuff, but I really like that mechanic shirt. It's a good one. But anyway, back to this. I appreciate you guys sticking around for another episode of SU Cruiser. Y'all take it easy. I love you. Good night. Okay, peeps, a little bit of bonus footage. Whenever you have a bent, oh, this is gonna be right in the way. Yeah, that'll be right in the way. All right, my focus is this right here. This is your rear brake. You wanna know how you fix this? Whenever you bend it cold, if it was bent cold, you re-bend it cold. If it was bent when it was hot, you re-bend it when it's hot. So, if this is bent right now, the last thing I want to do is put a torch to it and then try to bend it again. You don't do that. Easy way to do this. Grab yourself a nice crescent wrench. Put it on the outside like so. Tighten it down so it doesn't have much give to it. Right about there. Alright, and then you just torque it down. Just a little bit. Let's see how aligned that is. And you go a little bit more. A little bit more. Yeah, this is the best way to bend it. Either that or on a vise. Nice and easy though. Don't get crazy with it. Do little by little. Alright, just a little bit more. And we should be good. A little bit more. Don't get crazy because you might break it. And that's good. Anyway, a little bit of bonus footage. Use yourself a crescent wrench to bend your rear brake back in place. If it's made of this metal, like steel. Congratulations. You learned how to bend that.